Miller's Monsters. Today we're going to look at Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, available now on Netflix. The full season is up. It is 8 episodes right now. Today we're going to look at episode 1 and episode 2. But before we get to that, take a moment, hit that bell, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and spoilers ahead. Episode 1 is titled Lot 36, and it is directed by Guillermo Navarro, starring Tim Blake Nelson, Sebastian Roche, and Elpidia Carlillo. And it's a story about a down on his luck storage purchaser. What is it? Like Storage Wars that you see. He's the guy that goes to the auctions and bids on a locker with little information, hoping to find some treasure in there. But he's in deep, and he's got the loan sharks getting after him that want their money. And he has a deal with the owner of the storage units to tip him off to what he thinks might be some good lockers or units coming up. And so what happens is he ends up buying lot 36. And as he's starting to, if you don't know, you got to open it and empty it out, throw out the trash, and hopefully you find something that's good on the inside. Tough way to make a living, but it's fantasized on TV. So he's cleaning out the locker, and then we flash back to the, not flashback, but go back to the storage unit owner where he accidentally sold a unit from an older lady, and she came to pay for the unit, but it had already been sold, and really all she wants to get out of it is her family photos, anything from her family that's in there. So feeling sorry for the lady, he figures out who bought the unit, which happens to be our guy that bought lot 36, and she meets him after he's loaded his truck. He's about to leave. She meets him at his truck and asks if she can just go in and get the photos of her family, some of the family heirlooms, and him being hard on his luck and says, you know what, no, you can't do it. If you give me $1,000, you can do it. And of course she doesn't have the $1,000. She's cleaning houses for, that's a month's pay for her. And he says, you know what, that's the rules, it's mine now, get out of here, get lost. So she reluctantly goes away. So now we're back to him in the storage unit because he got a visit from the loan shark who busted him on the head and reminded him that he needed his $12,000 by the end of the week. And we're back. Had to fix a costume malfunction on Luna. Listen, man, you gotta lay off the biscuits, man. You're busting out of the costume, okay? You and me both will lay off the biscuits together. So he's back in the storage to find anything, desperate to make this $12,000, and he comes across 2 antique chairs and a table. And they look old, they look valuable. So he gets a tip from his partner. Yes, I know. You busted out of your uniform again. Last time. Alright, oh, that's it. We're done with that. Heck with the uniform. Alright, so where were we? We were talking about the table, right? Yes. So he finds this table, gets a tip from his partner to go to this lady who knows about these things. And once there, he has a candelabra made of gold, the 2 chairs and the table, and the candelabra, easy for you to say, is made of gold. So she says it's not really that great, and she tries to put candles in it and can't even get the candles to fit, but looks at the table and is impressed by the woodwork and says definitely it's an antique, and it's a seance table. Okay, red flag right there. Seance table usually means trouble. especially when you're talking about a cabinet of curiosities. And she finds a trap button. You push a button and the drawer comes out, and she finds 3 books dealing with, obviously, seances and the dark side. And he asks her, well, these got to be worth something, right? This is great. He's seeing dollar signs going off in his head. And she says, yeah, but it's not really my thing, but I know somebody that would be very interested in this. And she calls him in, and he comes in, and he examines the table, and he says, all in the candelabra and the chairs, and he says, oh, that's wonderful, and the 3 books. And he goes, and the guy goes, it's valuable, right? And he goes, yeah, it is. I'll give you $3,000 for everything else. And then if you have the 4th book, there's a 4th book they're missing, which traps the demon or the spirit you conjured up. You will get $300,000 for them. So now he's all into it now. Didn't believe it at first. All into it. And him and this art, we'll call him art dealer, into supernatural, I guess, head back in his truck to the storage unit to find this 4th book. And during the ride back, the art dealer, the art dealer tells him a story how he knew the family ahead of time and how evil this guy was. And he during Germany, and he dealt for the wrong side and made his money off of arms, and was really a bastard to everybody. And his sister disappeared a while ago, and so that's the story they tell along the line to the storage unit. And then once back in the storage unit, they start searching frantically for the 4th book. The art dealer wants it for his own reasons, and our down on his luck storage businessman, we'll call him, needs it for the money. So they're searching, they're tearing the room apart up and down. They're not finding anything till they come along to the back wall, and something's knocked over and hits the back wall, and it sounds hollow. And so he's all excited, clears everything out, finds the lock. Turns out he could pick that lock pretty easily, knocks the lock off, and they find a secret passage back through the tunnels in the back of this storage facility. And so they're traveling back there, and there's all these articles about the missing sister on the wall, and there were some newspapers in the storage unit about her, so a little foreshadowing there, what they might find at the other end. And so they finally get to an open room, and they see the body of her sister with the demon inside her, who's been starving to death because she's been trapped there. And needs to break the seance circle, which is a pentagram on the floor and a circle around it, and with we'll call it magic dust. All you people that know better will be hounding me on this, but I don't. That's why I don't deal with demons, except for me. I'm the only demon I deal with. So on the back wall, he sees the 4th book. And the art dealer warns him not to break the seal, but obviously greed is in this guy's heart and eyes now, and he sees the 4th book and presses forward, breaking the seal of the circle, which releases the demon. And so the book gets back to the art dealer, and he just stands there, why I don't know, and watches the demon manifest itself out of the dead woman now. Lying on the floor, and apparently in the candelabra with the candles that was supposed to protect them proved worthless. A big flash of flames, and it did nothing to help the situation at all. And obviously the guy's just standing there and gets eaten. So I don't know, being an art dealer, knowing the whole story, I may have turned and hauled my ass out of there. But, I guess it makes a better story if he stays there. But our storage dealer is more aware of the situation and starts running. And he runs back through the tunnel into the storage unit and is being chased by the demon, which is very impressive CGI there. I mean, this series is well done, special effects wise, and it was great. Tentacles off the face and everything, very creepy, very nice. And so he's running through the storage units trying to get out, and apparently in this storage unit, and I'm sure they're motion censored by now, but you have to turn a dial every so often to turn the lights on. So he's running through and the lights go off. Well, now he has to find the dial, turn the light on, and we go through this, and he's turning the light on 4 more times, and God, I would never want to deal with that in any situation. It's kind of like a hot tub, dial the hot tub for a few minutes, it goes off. You gotta get out of the hot tub, freeze your butt, turn it back on, get back in the hot tub, warm up. Well, this one, if you want to see, every so often you gotta go find a light switch. But eventually he gets lost and comes to a locked door, and it's able to be opened from the outside only. He can't open it from the inside, and standing there is our lady that asked him for her family's effects earlier in the show, and he's pounding on the door, let me out, let me out, let me out, and she's just looking at him. And in the beginning of the show, he gave her the broken lock that he clipped off for her storage unit and said, here, you can use this. And so Karma, being a bitch, she looks at him and says, one moment, and he's happy as can be, he's going to get out, and she takes that broken lock and slides it on the door, leaving him for his doom. And that's a brief. Yes, it wasn't very nice. We don't get to see him mangled by the demon, unfortunately, but he certainly got what he deserved. This is the first episode I saw of this series. Like I said, special effects are fantastic. The acting's wonderful. This director really brought the tension. The atmosphere is good, except for having to turn the light on all the time. But it's a story of greed and karma. And if you're consumed by both, and that's a good reason to be kind every now and then to somebody out of the blue. So karma pays you back kindly as well. Coming up next will be episode 2. The Rat Cemetery. Before we get to episode 2, take a moment, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I'll be back in a minute after I have a talk here with Luna, and maybe we'll put her costume back on. Maybe we'll go on Amazon and look for a bigger costume. Would you like that? I think you would. Alright, talk to you in a minute. Alright, we're back, and we're going to look at episode 2 now of Cabinet of Curiosities, entitled Graveyard Rats. And this is directed by Vincent Natali. It stars David Hewlett, Alexander Elling, and Ish Morris. And again, there was a theme in these first 2 episodes. And what it is don't get stuck with a loan shark. We find another down on their luck person, this time the curator of a cemetery, and he's in deep to the loan sharks, we'll call them. Don't know if they call them back then, because this is set back in the olden days a bit. And he's picking the valuable stuff out of graves in his own cemetery. So at the beginning we see him interrupting 2 grave robbers, and can I help you? Is it okay? Okay, got it? I know, you gotta itch it, And he interrupts 2 grave robbers and, scares them away, says, give me the stuff back, I'm the purveyor of this cemetery. And we think he's the hero at the very beginning, and shortly thereafter he keeps the booty, or the loot that they got off of this deceased person, and goes in, and they used gold fillings back then, so he's going in to her mouth and looking for gold fillings, and finds one, and attempts to pull it out of her mouth, does, but drops it, and when searching for it, gets bit by a rat. And then we learn how deep he is into the loan shark, as he tries to give him the loot he has gotten to help pay his debt. And it's really costume jewelry, not much there. And he's about to get killed. They tell him, if it's not here in a week, you're going to be in a coffin instead of robbing coffins. And he says, it's been so hard lately because of the rats in the cemetery. And he says, they get to the bodies before I do, which, the loan shark believes as a fantastical story, which who would believe that the rats could move a whole body before, he could get to them. And just says, here, take a knife, go after him. He says, no, I'm claustrophobic, I can't do that. And we cut to him visiting the coroner's office, to where, again, he has a partner there. Everybody has a partner in this. And he's asking, hey, can I examine the fresh bodies for gold teeth and that? And the guy says, no, I can't do that. But fortunately for our cemetery man, the other guy is drug addicted, and he just happened to bring the magic elixir with him, so he gets a free pass in to look at the fresh corpse, and finds nothing. And we see a few gruesome corpse laying on slabs there. They were pretty gruesome. And a nice one-liner about someone missing their head. And then they're about to leave, and he sees a curtain in the back, and he goes, what's back there? And the guy says, no, nothing, let's go. And he's trying to rush him out, and he distracts the guy and runs back there. And it's a really fresh corpse, obviously a wealthy man, well-kept man. And he opens his mouth, and it's filled with gold teeth. This guy's hit the bonanza. Gotta slow down. Hit the bonanza, and is ready to start extracting, and the guy's trying to pull him back. And yes, I know. Don't let the makeup off. And suddenly, the owner of the coroner's office, where the head coroner comes in, and they have to hide. He's talking to the wife of this deceased person on the slab there, and apparently he was in the army, and then is going to be buried with a priceless sword. And excuse me for a moment. Here, go play with that. That's why she can't fit in her uniform. And is going to be buried with his ceremonial sword given to him by the queen, which makes it priceless. Jackpot. This guy is like, okay, he's going to be buried in my cemetery. He's got a bunch of gold teeth, a sword that is worth a fortune, and I could probably get to him before the rats, because I can be there hours after he's buried. Fast forward to the funeral, and he meets the ex-wife and says, I'll take good care of him, being the creep that he is. And then we go to the burial. He's buried, and then next scene, he's digging him up that evening, gets to the coffin, opens it, and the body's gone. And he looks down, and there's a hole in the casket at the foot of the casket, and the rats are dragging the body down into a tunnel. And even though this guy's claustrophobic, he sees, his life flashing before his eyes. That's his way out. He has to get this guy. So he climbs in and chases this guy through in through the tunnels. Only gets stuck once, amazingly, kind of like Santa Claus, going down a chimney. You have to be careful. Evades falling through a collapsible hole in the tunnel. and is still chasing this body through the tunnel. This guy's very determined to get this body. I would have let the Rats have him. Like, you know what? You got me. I'll go deal with the other guy. I'm not going in a hole with hundreds of rats. And so finally, we get to a junction, and he comes across, we'll call it the King Rat, which is an enormous mutant rat, can only stay in the tunnels, and what they're doing is pulling these people down to feed the queen, or king rat, as I so deemed him. And so he has a gun. He's able to injure the rat, but is being chased by the rat through the tunnels, and it looks like, you know, it's going to be his demise here. And he falls through another, we'll call it a sinkhole in the tunnels, and falls through the tunnels into a chamber where they just happen to throw all the skeletons, yes, of the remains of the people they pulled out of the coffin and have devoured to the bone. And in this pile of bones, he finds all the jewelry. Obviously no use for the rats. They just want to chew on the dead people and eat the meat off the bone. And he collects all this jewelry, finds the sword he was looking for, and let me tell you, those rats are pretty efficient because those bones were picked clean pretty darn fast to when our cemetery man got to him. And he finds a weird idol. Nothing he can do with that, it's too big. But it was very gruesome looking. Kind of reminds me of the Wicked Buddha in the movie Incantation. You can find that on Netflix too. And excuse me. And he turns and sees a body up against the wall, kind of sitting down on a throne-like thing with a beautiful piece of jewelry. Obviously another priceless heirloom that he just has to have. He wasn't just satisfied with taking the sword and getting his money that way. He's going to go for the whole pot of gold, so to speak. And you know, he just barely escaped the rat. Seemed like he was in the clear, and he goes and has to grab this medallion off this dead person who likes the jewelry and wants it for himself, and animates and tells him mine, and grabs him by the hand. So we have this little struggle with a half-dead body and who just wants the jewelry back. You just give it to him. The guy probably would have left you alone and you could have gone on your merry way. But he's reluctant to do that and finds a way and starts climbing back up the tunnel to hopefully salvation. And so he's struggling to get back up the tunnel. The half-dead bodies crawling after him. You know, they're not very fast, only got two hands. Can't use their feet because, well, there isn't any. And finally gets to the top and sees a loose rock at the top of the tunnel. And if he can just pry it loose, he would trap the half-dead body down there. And unfortunately, the King Rat has caught up with him too, going down the tunnel the other way. So he has King Rat to the left of him, half-dead body saying, mine, mine, to the right of him. What's a guy to do? Nowhere to go. So finally, he tries again to get the rock to collapse. Just as the King Rat is attacking him, the rock comes loose, lands on King Rat, and kills him, and traps the half-dead body in the area. All's well that ends well, I guess. So finally, he's got to find a way out of there, and he looks up and he sees a light. And being a religious person as he is, although he's stealing from dead corpse, amazing how religious a thief or a creep or a grave robber can be in these times, thanks to the Lord, and is praying as he climbs up to this light, to where he eventually gets up to the light. And what it was a gold piece in a coffin that said, rest in peace, that his light was reflecting off of. And another sad ending, our greedy little cemetery man is trapped now buried alive in this coffin, and eventually all the other rats, who are probably pissed off at this point that they killed the king rat, come after him and pretty much put him out of his misery. And all irony is, in the end, the original grave robbers dig him up and steal all the priceless pieces he stole off of all the dead bodies. So that is episode 2, Graveyard Rats, of Cabinet of Curiosities, available on Netflix. There's 8 episodes. I'm going to get to the next 2 episodes later this week, probably Wednesday. And I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you soon. And Luna, hopefully, will be back in costume. We're going to put her on an exercise regime as well as me. What do you think? You can do that? Yeah, she can do that. Happy